We have a question here that talks about the percentage of executives in a certain industry receiving a cash signing bonuses, and they're increasing. Percentage is given by the function B of t equals 4.814 times 1.325 raised to the t power, where t is the number of years since 1997. We want to find the percentage of executives receiving signing bonuses in 2001 and in 2002. So as we discussed just a second ago, we want to figure out what percentage of executives are receiving bonuses in 2001. Now, 2001 is 4 years away from 1997. So since it's 4 years away, that's why we would put 4 in place of t. So whenever we put this into our calculator, for t being 4, we get 14.8378, give or take. And they want you to round to the nearest tenth, so that means it would be 14.8% of executives receiving bonuses in 2001. For 2002, well, that is 5 years from 1997. So we would repeat the same process, but put in 5 in place of t. Okay? So now we go back to our calculator. And remember your orders of operations. Your exponents come before multiplication. So 5 years from now, in 2002, roughly 19.66% of executives will receive signing bonuses. So since it's to the 10th spot, 19.7 would be your final answer. Now remember, you always have to take the difference between the year that you're finding and the year that the problem says the function is based upon. So it says the t is the number of years since 1997. If we're given a year of 2002, we have to figure out how many years is it in between those 2 years. So that's why we take 2002 minus 1997, we get 5 years. 2001 minus 1997 would be 4 years. That's how you're able to know what letter or what number to put into the letter. Okay, now, the next question that we have, interest is compounded semi-annually. Find the amount of the account of the given after the given time. So the principal in this problem is $5,000. The rate of interest is 3%. Might want to get into the habit, instead of writing 3%, write it as 0.03. So you always want to write it as a decimal. And the time is 3 years. Okay? So another piece of information that they give you, but it's not really clear, is that semi-annually piece. That's your end value of the compound interest formula. So if it's semi-annually, that means n equals 2. That means that it's compounded twice per year. Now there are specific values for n. Annually means that n would be 1. Semi-annually, n would be 2. Quarterly, n would be 4. And that's really the most common ones that you would see. You'll also see every now and then daily, and that would be 365. But since our problem says compounded semi-annually, our end value of our compound interest formula would be 2. So the compound interest formula is A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. And here, A is the amount of money that you accrue, P is your principal, and then 1 plus R over N R is your rate, N is the amount of time it is compounded, and T is your time. So we just plug our information into the formula. So we would have 5,000 times 1 plus the rate, which is 0.03, over N, which is 2, raised to the 2 times 3. Now we have to be very careful on our orders of operations. On the inside of the parentheses is what we have to work out first. So I'm going to do the fraction. I'm going to do 0.03 divided by 2. And I'm just going to write every little step down. 0.015 raised to the 2 times 3. And then still on the inside of the parentheses, I'm going to add 1 plus 0.015. And that would give me 5,000 times 1.015 raised to the 2 times 3, which would be 6. Okay. Now we take care of the exponents. So we raise 1.015 to the 6th power, and we get 5,000 times 1.0934. I like to round it out to 4 decimal places just to be on the safe side. And then when I multiply the two numbers, I get 5,467.216 or 5,467.22. And that's the amount of money that I would have in the account with an interest rate over 3 years. Okay? The biggest takeaways for this one, you have to know the compound interest formula, and you also have to be able to write your number from a percentage to a decimal, and the semi-annually, annually, the values for N. Okay, so those are the key takeaways for problems like these. Okay. Now the next problem, on Melissa's 6th birthday, she gets a $2,000 CD. Okay, so a certificate of deposit, that's what a CD represents. So basically, $2,000 is what she gets, so that's going to be the principal. That's going to be the P. The interest is 6%, which means 0.06 equals the rate. That's your R. That's your interest rate. Semi-annually means that it's going to be, your N value is going to be 2. The only thing we're missing is that it's the time. So on her 6th birthday, she gets $2,000. The CD is going to mature on her 13th birthday. So how many years is it apart between her 6th birthday and her 13th birthday? It should be 7. So between 6th B-Day and 7th B-Day, I'm sorry, not 7th, 13th B-Day is 7 years. And that's your T. So I'm going to underline these because I'm going to need all of these for my compound interest formula. So now I've got to ask, I'm going to have the question, how much money is available? So that's when I use A equals P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. And I perform the same process that I did on the last problem. 2,000 times 1 plus 0.06 over 2 raised to the 2 times 7. Okay. So same process. I'm going to work the fraction on the inside. And of course, 2 times 7 will give us 14 for the exponents. Okay, so we get to kind of save that step there. Then I add the 2 numbers on the inside of the parentheses. And then I take 1.03, raise it to the 14th power. So when I raise it to the 14th power, I get 1.512. 589, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to leave it as 1.5125. And then I'll multiply that number by 2,000. So roundabout in the ballpark, on her 13th birthday, her account should have approximately $3,025.18, give or take. Okay, so that's how much interest she would get, or how much her account would grow based on the interest rate, the compoundedness, and everything in between. So really for these kinds of problems, you got to make sure to read the problem and just be able to figure out what the times are. Your compound interest, it's semi-annually, so your N is 2, and use your compound interest formula.